Hey guys, welcome to another episode of MIA with Damini. Get a pen, grab a notepad, and happy learning. Hey guys, so today I want to give you guys some of my secret sauce, right? Some of the magic that I have or I use or I sprinkle on top of businesses to make them succeed. And funny enough, it's a very simple, direct strategy shortcut. Let me use it like that. So I call it the three I's. So the I's stand for intentionality, implementation, and iteration. Right? Very simple, very direct. Three I's, and it can fit into any business, whether you are in the service industry, whether you are in the products industry, with fashion, with food. I like food. With food, what else again? Oil, any service industry, any type of product business, whatever it is you're selling, tech, the three I's fit into it perfectly, right? And like I said, the first one is being intentional, right? You need to be intentional. You can't really, it requires you to have focus. You can't just like pursue everything at the same time, right? That's shiny object or shiny glass mirror syndrome. You can't be pursuing you all over the place, right? You can't you can't say you want to achieve 100 things and you only have a budget for three or four or five things, right? In economics, you have scale of preference, you have opportunity cost. So these are the things that play a very, very huge factor when you want to be intentional. You have to pick things that are going to take your business to the next level at the best way possible, in the best way possible. Let me use that word. So, for example, now, if you are focused on sales, right, you would want to either focus on your bestseller or introducing a new product that will be your bestseller or cross selling or upselling or creating a bundle for your bestsellers, right? That's typically how you want to focus on sales. And that's how you want to be intentional with increasing sales. Now, some people, what they will do is they will end up by introducing a range of so many different products, thinking that, okay, you know what, the more products we have, the more we can sell. However, and this has happened to me before, you end up having stock that is not moving. And you sell it at ridiculous prices. So you can have products of a particular, you can have a particular product, maybe like 1,000 pieces, and you could just focus on selling that out. But instead, you're like, you know what? The money I used to sell, maybe out of that 1,000, I sold 200 pieces. Let me use that money from 200 pieces to buy another product and then, combine it. That's good if it's what your customers are asking for, if it's what your audience is asking you for. It's not good if it's your own personal opinion, right? I think I've said it in so many previous podcast episodes. Data is your friend. Always analyze your data. Always understand the data. Always look at the data. Like it's not there for show or it's not there for whatever. Like you have to use it, right? And being intentional, one of the best ways is to look at the data. So you need to look at what are the things that your business needs, not you. What are the things your business needs, and how can you bring those things to life? How can you make them come to pass in the easiest way possible? So that's you being intentional. The next one is implementation. So implementation is almost like action. So you've been intentional with, let's say, three, four objectives or goals. You already have mapped it out that, okay, these are the things I want to do. These are the things that will take my business to the next level. How do you take action, right? How do you take action could be, how do you have conversations with maybe the micro influencers you want to use? How do you have conversations with your suppliers as regards, new products in case you're introducing new products? How do you have conversations with an agency that is going to set up your online ads? Or how do you even do it yourself? Again, it's dependent on you. How do you do it yourself? How do you how do you take that training that is going to improve your customer service for yourself or your staff? How do you get new staff involved? That's the action you are going to take after you've created your objectives or your goals by being intentional, right? The last one is iteration. Now, nothing in this world goes according to plan. I strongly believe. I think the only thing that goes according to plan is like one day, all of us will be chilling somewhere. That's all. Where it is, it depends on what you believe in. but I shall know that one day we'll all be chilling somewhere. And that's the mindset that people need to change with business. You will always assume that, when we have A, B, C, D, E would follow through. No, or B, C, D, E rather would follow through. And it doesn't work like that. I've come to believe that there's always a constant need for iteration. Iteration being constant improvement, constant checking in, constant understanding the situation, constant, reevaluating the situation, if that makes any sense. You always need to iterate. Iterate is one of my favorite words. I use it in my personal life. Like literally everything I do is so intentional, but at the same time I also leave room for iteration. So for example, now let's say I set a few goals at the end of the year, at the beginning of the year rather, and we are in May right now, and then some of those goals are not looking like they're going to come to pass. I need to iterate the reasons why they're not coming to pass. Okay, fine. What exactly is the reason why that these things are not coming to pass? Okay, this is where something messed up or got screwed. This is where everything seems to be going according to plan, but it's going slower than I expected. When I understand that, I can iterate. Okay, you know what? Maybe these goals, I should shift them to next year. That way, I can introduce new goals. So that's me being intentional. That's me trying to implement new things. So that's how the other two factors have come into iteration. So iteration, I've realized that, okay, maybe I need to focus on new styles or new ways of attacking something or solving something, right? And it's not bad to iterate. Some people feel like when they need to change something, it means they had failed in what they were doing before, and that's not true, right? Everybody iterates. No, and I think this example is an overkill because everybody seems to be using it. But take the COVID pandemic, for example, now. With the COVID pandemic, almost every business had to come online, except you were saying like maybe hand sanitizers and you are lucky and face masks. But almost every other business had to come online to start selling. Even up till date, people still have to come outside, come online rather. Now, um, people are coming outside, restrictions are getting lifted. And if you notice, a lot of online marketing or a lot of online sales have begun to dip. That's because people are now outside and they are doing normal physical shopping, like going to the shops, going to buy from, their favorite small shop, or they're going to eat out in a new style physical cafe, something like that. They want to purge themselves of that online addiction, so to speak. And as a business, you need to also iterate. So when COVID came, people iterated towards online shopping. Now, I don't know the kind of products you sell or the kind of business you run, but you might need to iterate out of online shopping at some point just to, have an experience, a physical experience alongside an online experience, right? That's something you might want to look at as well. Now, the beauty of these three eyes is they all come together. So they run in a cycle. I always use them in a cycle. And it's one of those hacks that in like in an hour or two, I can literally see what went wrong, see how it went wrong, and see how to fix it. Because we're just using this very simple tactic, right? Which is just the three eyes. Like no stress, nothing. There's no like when you okay, what are your objectives? What are your goals? What are you trying to be intentional with? Were you intentional with those things? Did you at any point switch to something else? Did you give it enough time to see results? Okay, that's number one, being intentional. The second thing, implementing. How do you implement these things? Did you pass a backdoor, try a shortcut? Did you actually go through it? Did you follow up with the results? How did you record the results? What's the data telling you? That's implementation. Now, iteration. Okay, how have you tried to tweak or edit things as it was going? Now, all this requires a time frame or a timeline. All right. So let's say you want to do the three eyes within 6 months, right? Now, until after the 6 months, you really can't tell whether it failed or it succeeded. You have to wait for those 6 months, except something drastic happens or there's a huge change in your market or in your industry that requires you to now restart or redo the whole three eyes all over again. It happens. Like COVID was one of the reasons why a lot of people had to redo their three eyes. Okay, so that's where iteration comes in. So you need to find out that okay, what you were intentional with, it didn't go according to plan. However, you try to do all the activities or try to put action steps in place as implementation, and it still didn't work. Okay, fine. How did you iterate? What was the market or the industry and the environment telling you? And how did you make changes to make sure that your initial intentional plans or intentional objectives or intentional goals came to life or came to pass? How did you do that? Right? Those are the questions that I would typically ask, and I will be able to get my answers from those three questions. Once I'm given an answer, I'll be like, okay, fine, this is what went wrong, this is how we can fix it, and this is the next step to take. Right? Now with the three eyes, you always want to look at long term and short term goals. Always long term and short term. You can't you can't have a long term goal without a short term goal. Like a lot of people set up long term goals and just leave it at long term goals, not knowing that short term goals you need short term goals to achieve long term goals, right? It's like a ladder that has too much space between it will be difficult to climb compared to a ladder that has steps always closely together, right? Now, for short term goals, I would say mid three, four. Again, if you have a big team with you, which I'm not sure you do, if you have a big team with you, you can do as many goals as you like. But I would go for three, four goals to be on the safe side. For three, four goals every 90 days, 90 to 180 days. That's a good time frame. And don't focus on anything else. Just highlight the top three goals that you need to focus on. Max top four. I would say top three actually. Top three goals you need to focus on and give it your laser focus for the next 3 to 6 months. And trust me, you'll see an improvement. Trust me. A lot of us growing businesses, we have this very bad attitude of focusing on too many things at the same time. And that's because number one, we don't outsource properly. Number two, we don't read the data. Like we focus so much on money entering the bank, not understanding where the money is coming from, which would help you when you understand where it's coming from, right? Um, so that's what you want to do for short-term goals. Short-term intentional goals. How are you going to implement those short-term goals? How are you going to iterate when those short-term goals are not going according to plan? Or how do you even improve? How do you improve the results of those short-term goals, right? Basically. And then for long-term goals, it's more of a year. It's more of a year to like 3, 5 years. It depends on the kind of products you sell, depends on the kind of company you run, depends on the kind of marketing expertise or sales expertise or everything really, from your legal to your HR, everything depends on the kind of expertise you have. But I would say 1 to 3 years is a good place to be. Now, what you want to look at is for long term goals is also the same thing as how do I put this now? As 3 to 4, as setting how the tongue twister there. It's almost the same thing as setting 3 to 4 goals, right? However, what you want to do is each goal you set has children. Remember when we were writing exam that you see 1A, 1B, 1C? It's the same thing here. So you want to set a long-term goal. Let's say your long-term goal would be to increase customer satisfaction by 20% in the next 2 years. That's your long-term goal. 2 years is very possible. 20% is not a ridiculous number. However, you need to break that down. So that 20% in 2 years is 10% per year, which is, let's say, 5% every 6 months. So how are you going to achieve that goal? How are you going to achieve this goal for 5% every 6 months? How do you make sure that every 6 months you increase your customer satisfaction score by at least 5%? Right? These are the kind of things you can do when it comes to long-term goals. Your long-term goals should be 3 to 4, just like short-term goals. However, they should also have children. So they should have like maybe another 3 to 4 children in it, right? So basically, those are the kind of things you can do. You can start doing in your business, start doing even in whatever it is you do. I feel like the three I's. So I use it for my like daily living. If that makes any sense. Like I always set a lot of goals for myself, and this is what I do. I just use the three I's. Like I don't anybody like if you give me like a task, I would use the three I's. Okay, what's the outcome that we need? What do I need to be intentional about? Because I don't like focusing on too many things at the same time. Like just give me three things to focus on and let me put my best into those three things. Don't give me 5 or 10 or 100 things. No, 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 no. I won't be able to give you my best, right? I don't think anybody will be able to give you their best. I think in my last podcast I spoke about the myth of multitasking. Yep, I'm still on that. I think it's a huge myth. But yeah, so the three I's, you always want to be intentional, whatever it is you're doing, like from losing weight to increasing the number of sales for a particular product in your business. You have to be intentional. Implementation, okay, fine. How do you implement these things? How do you make sure that, okay, I want to sell 100 pieces of this every month? Okay, fine. What am I doing right now? Okay, what channels are working best? How do I introduce new channels to market this product? Or how do I increase the numbers of sales happening in already existing channels? Or how do I do the both at the same time? Right? That's your implementation. How do you answer those questions? That's implementation. Iteration. Okay, this is not working according to my time frame. How do I speed it up? Or how do I switch it up? It depends. And that's basically how it works. So it's a wrap. That's about it for today. So you'll be hearing from me in another episode, I guess. But don't forget to share this with your friends, your family, people that have businesses, and that will find this type of content useful. So yeah, you'll be hearing from me soon.